In the spring of 1973, a retired machinist near Lancaster County began filling a metal trunk with something his neighbors found bizarre: dozens of plastic bottles, each one cut, drilled, or melted into a working tool. They assumed he had lost his mind. 2 decades later, after his workshop burned down, his grandson opened that trunk and found 18 separate modifications inside, untouched, each one solving a problem people today pay good money to fix. It wasn't junk. It was a forgotten survival manual hidden in plastic, and almost every page of it still works today. Welcome to Secret and Solutions, where we dig up engineering knowledge that slipped through the cracks of modern convenience. Today, 18 plastic bottle transformations that quietly outperform products sold in stores for 10, 20, even 50 times the price. Start with water. A standard 1.5-liter bottle punctured with 12 to 15 pinholes near its base using a heated needle becomes a slow-drip irrigation system. Bury it neck down beside a tomato plant, fill it, and it releases roughly 200 milliliters of water over 6 to 8 hours. Commercial drip emitters cost between $3 and $8 each. This costs nothing. Farmers in drought-prone regions of northern Mexico have used this exact method since the early 1990s, cutting water waste by up to 70% compared to surface watering. But water can do more than feed a plant. It can also become safe to drink using nothing but sunlight. Fill a clear bottle, lay it flat on a metal roof or dark surface in direct sun for 6 hours, and a process called solar water disinfection begins. Ultraviolet A radiation, combined with water temperatures above 30 degrees Celsius, damages the DNA of bacteria like E. coli, and cholera-causing pathogens until they can no longer reproduce. The technique was field-tested across Latin America, starting in 1991 by researchers at a Swiss Aquatic Research Institute. And by the early 2000s, it was protecting drinking water for an estimated 2 million people across Africa, Asia, and South America, all without electricity, filters, or chemicals. Almost nobody connects that same bottle to bicycle maintenance, yet the next discovery in that Pennsylvania trunk solved exactly that. Cut a rectangular channel along one side of a bottle, just wide enough to slide over a bicycle chain. Fill the channel with degreaser, position it beneath the chain, and turn the pedals backward. The bottle becomes a sealed cleaning chamber. Grime drips away instead of splattering onto the floor. Bike shops charge $12 to $15 for a dedicated chain cleaning tool that does exactly this. The bottle version costs $0 and takes under 90 seconds to build. What happened next in that recovered collection was stranger still. Several bottles had been cut at the base and slit along the edges, then dropped directly into a sink drain. The slits catch hair and food debris before it reaches the pipe, preventing clogs that plumbers typically charge $60 to $200 to clear. A similar idea scales up for washing machines. Most front-loading machines hide a small filter near the base that traps lint, coins, and fabric debris, and almost nobody empties it. A bottle cut horizontally, placed beneath that filter cap before opening it, catches the wastewater that floods out, keeping floors dry. Appliance technicians estimate that ignoring this filter for over a year is a leading cause of pump failures, a repair that often costs more than the machine itself. Before understanding why this matters outdoors too, consider the greenhouse. A bottle sliced cleanly in half and placed over a young seedling acts as a miniature cloche. It traps warm air near the soil, raising the temperature inside by several degrees Celsius compared to open air, while still letting light through. Market gardeners in cooler climates have used this exact trick for generations to push planting dates 2 to 3 weeks earlier in spring, protecting tender shoots from a late frost that would otherwise kill an entire bed overnight. Almost nobody connects plastic bottles to plumbing emergencies until the pipes back up. A bottle with its bottom removed, fitted with a sturdy garbage bag stretched over the opening, becomes an improvised plunger. Pressed into a toilet bowl and pumped several times, the trapped air column forces blockages loose with surprising consistency. It isn't elegant, but in homes without a plunger, it has saved countless emergency calls. Then there's storage, a category almost too simple to believe. 2 identical bottles, cut to roughly 1/3 and 2/3 of their height, slide together to form a small lidded box for screws, nails, or sewing supplies. A larger jug, sliced through but left hinged on one side, becomes a latch-free container for garage clutter. And smaller sections, slotted end to end, form modular dry food canisters, airtight enough with the cap on to keep rice, oats, or beans fresh for months without the cost of mason jars. The real surprise came with bottle caps, a single hole drilled through a cap, fitted with a short-length cut from an old bicycle inner tube valve, transforms an entire bottle into a hand pump dispenser. Squeeze the bottle, and liquid flows through a connected hose under gentle pressure, with no electricity and nothing to fail. Outdoors, the applications multiply. A bottle tied neck down to a tree branch, cap loosened just enough to let water drip slowly, becomes a portable hand-washing station for a campsite or job site, no plumbing required. A bottle slid over a long pole with a light bulb wedged into its mouth lets anyone reach a ceiling fixture and twist the bulb free without climbing on furniture. a trick that has prevented more falls than most safety inspectors realize. Winter brings its own forgotten use. Slice the bottom inch of a large bottle into narrow strips, leaving them attached at the rim, and you get a stiff, weatherproof brush ideal for clearing snow or frost from a car windshield without scratching the glass, something cheap ice scrapers do constantly. Even gardening hides another layer inside these containers. A bottle punctured with a fine syringe needle filled with water, and placed cap down beside a houseplant releases moisture gradually over several days. An automatic watering system that needs no batteries, timers, or apps. For anyone leaving plants unattended for a week, this single trick has quietly replaced an entire industry of self-watering planters, which typically sell for $15 to $30 a piece. But the simplest discovery in the entire collection was also the most overlooked. Cut a bottle diagonally near the shoulder and the resulting cone becomes a precision funnel, narrow enough to fit motor oil, paint thinner, rice, or sugar into containers with tight necks. Hardware stores sell funnel sets for $6 to $10. This version takes 4 seconds with a utility knife, and a slightly different cut with a small notch removed from the rim turns the same shape into a pouring spout that clips directly onto the mouth of a second bottle, eliminating drips entirely when transferring liquids between containers. What happened after that, almost nobody noticed, because it solved a problem people had stopped thinking about entirely. Tangled cables behind a desk or workbench, a bottle with several small holes drilled into one side, each labeled with tape, becomes a cable organizer. Thread one charger cord or extension lead through each hole, and the bottle's body keeps the cables separated, dust-free, and easy to identify in seconds, instead of pulling a knot of identical black wires out from behind a cabinet every time something needs charging. What ties these 18 ideas together isn't cleverness for its own sake. It's a mindset, one where a container built to be used once becomes the raw material for dozens of permanent household solutions, the kind of resourcefulness once standard on farms and in workshops long before single-use plastic existed. That Pennsylvania collection sat sealed in a trunk for 20 years because nobody recognized what they were looking at. Today, with plastic waste piling up by the billions of tons worldwide, that same mindset is quietly resurfacing in workshops, homesteads, and small communities that never stopped relying on it. So here's the question worth sitting with. How many plastic bottles have you thrown away this month that could have solved a problem already sitting in your home? If this kind of forgotten practical knowledge is something you want more of, subscribe to Secret and Solutions, where we dig up the systems and techniques history quietly left behind. And next time, we're heading underground, to a network of hand-dug tunnels that kept an entire town supplied with running water for over a century without a single modern pump,